the viewers of The Pioneer, how are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we're back with our new report on the Russia-Ukraine war. We will analyze the details together in a moment. According to the latest reports, the Russian army continued its pressure on the front line. However, while the Russian force maintain its pressure, there is a big problem they face. Of course, this problem is a very strong defense line established by the Ukrainian armed forces. The Russian armed forces are unable to make healthy progress against this defense line despite all the attacks. As we have mentioned many times before, the most intense attacks of the Russian armed forces is on the Donetsk front line. Hundreds of Russian soldiers are destroyed every day during the attacks in this region. Hundreds of Russian armored vehicles and tanks are destroyed as well. Let us state the following here. The Ukrainian armed forces have taken the positions of a war of attrition. So, what is happening on the front line? Let's take a look at the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to convey developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and report on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the video. This support will make me and my team very pleased. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reporting. Let's start today's map report within the northern front line, the Luhansk front line. There has been some activity here in recent days, but nothing has changed yet. According to the latest reports, there have been no changes in the conflict areas. According to the information from local sources, units of the Russian armed forces launched an attack on Ukrainian positions around Ternivka, Makiivka, and Sinkiivka. However, these attacks did not bring any successes. The Ukrainian armed forces managed to repel these attacks of the Russian armed forces. Let us mention the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions in the direction of Zherichny, Donetsk, and Yapilovka. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian positions in the directions of Dibrov, Cherepivka, and Pelochankov and Novodiivnya. Now let's continue by looking at the latest situation on the Bakhmut front line. According to the information from Russian sources, in the northern part of the Bakhmut front line, the Russian armed forces are continuing their offensive southeast of Bogdanivka and near the autodrome on the northern flanks of the Bakhmut direction. In this area, the Russian armed forces are advancing in an area up to 530 meters wide and 170 meters deep. The Russian offensive here is not as furious as the offensives along the Avdiivka and the Donetsk front line. However, there was an earlier retreat here. In terms of the Ukrainian armed forces, Ukrainian troops were withdrawn from the defense of Avdiivka. Therefore, it seems possible to say that the advances here are quite normal. On the other hand, we see that the Russian armed forces are actively carrying out offensive operations in the southern part of the Bakhmut front line. Again, according to the information we have obtained from Russian sources, part of the Chernobyl gardening community southwest of Bakhmut was captured by the Russian armed forces. They have advanced 530 meters along the 1 kilometer wide track. However, it should be noted, a prolonged resistance by the Ukrainian armed forces here could have led to even greater difficulties. Therefore, it seems possible to say that it was a tactical retreat. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions in the directions of Hromov, Klishchivka, Ivonivsky, Kharkivka, and Makiivka. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian positions in the direction of Opitny, Bakhmut, Yahidny, Borhivka, and Kordomiivka. Let's continue our report by analyzing the latest developments on the Donetsk front line. There is no change in the intense and furious fighting that has been going on for nearly 2 months. Both armies continue to clash quite intensively. While the Russian armed forces continue their offensives, the Ukrainian armed forces are conducting a very successful defense operation. According to the latest reports on the Donetsk front line, Russian troops attacked the Ukrainian fortifications in Novomykhailovka from the south with artillery support. Ukrainian armed forces continue to defend their positions there as a large extent. The Ukrainian armed forces have not lost any positions in this area. However, similar actions of the Russian armed forces near Nivolskoye and Permovskoye, Severnoye, and the south of western approaches to Avdiivka led to tactical successes. According to the information from Russian sources, in the Stepov area, infantry units of the Russian armed forces are still pressing the northern flanks of Avdiivka direction. Russian troops appear to have advanced in the area approximately 2 kilometers wide and 800 meters long. However, this information has not yet been confirmed, it should be noted. We have already mentioned attacks in the direction of Novomykhailovka. The Ukrainian armed forces managed to hold their positions here for a long time. They still hold them, but the region needs urgent reinforcement. Or the other option, a tactical retreat, should be implemented. Although the situation here is still in favor of the Ukrainian armed forces, we believe that the defense line should be established further back and troops should be deployed to the areas in order to protect the resources of the Ukrainian army. At the moment, the Ukrainian army is still holding back the Russian troops. However, all possibilities should be taken into account and deployments of the troops should be based on this calculation. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions in Berdyachi, Avdiivka, Severnoye, and Permovskoye, Alexandronopil, and Lastochny. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian positions in Kortobalka, Kamiinka, Veselny, and Opitny. Let's look at the latest situation on the Zaporizhia front line. According to the latest reports, Russian troops on the Zaporizhia front line continued to conduct offensive operations west of the village of Robotnyo, with the artillery support, of course. However, these attacks were repelled. We also see that the Russian troops launched a counterattack from the Verbov direction. However, Russian troops failed to make any gains during these attacks. The Ukrainian army is defending its positions. Let's talk about artillery activity. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in Malaya Tokmakcha, Chernovy, Galiapol, and Malnunovka. Artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian positions in Kopany, Ichenko, Novoprokopivka, Verbov, Novoftorovka, and Novopokrovka. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you think. Do you think the Ukrainian army will continue to hold its positions on the Bakhmut and the Donetsk front line? What do you think about the idea of the Ukrainian army establishing a defense line further back? Write it down in the comments. You know that I read, and I care a lot about your comments.